Hey everyone, Jenna here. I'm recording this video to just have a chat about the consciousness control programs that have been in place on this planet, and specifically within the spiritual communities as well. And what I've been perceiving over the last couple of years, and what I am now perceiving even more clearly, and want to share with those who are on a journey of awakening who might be finding this channel. This is going to be a conversation about the larger Epstein file release, the cult of Baal on the planet, the level of satanic evil that has infiltrated this planet, and the way in which that evil group, the evil cabal and cult, has been attempting to control the consciousness, not just of the unawakened masses, but also those who are awakening. There are many consciousness containment programs in place that you need to know about. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I'm going to talk a little bit about my experiences over the last few years engaging what we would call the New Age spiritual community and navigating my own journey of awakening through that process. And I'll say, this video comes after a very large scale cult of Baal integration process for me. And doing a lot of shamanic forensics work to better see through illusions, to better see through what sort of consciousness control programs really have been in place on this planet and how have we been affected by them. And when we start to peel back the layers on this, we can start to see a very, very big and difficult truth on our planet. And I think one of the most difficult truths, beyond some of the horrors that are being revealed through the Epstein files and 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 even the horror of zooming out to understand the level of control that this cult and cabal has had over humanity and human consciousness. I think one thing that is even more alarming to those who might consider themselves awakened or on a path of high consciousness, what becomes even more alarming is to realize that some of the spiritual teachings that exist on this planet and some of how that has been fed to humans has been an active program of keeping you pacified. Okay? So a lot of our spiritual teachings have been about transcendence and have been about finding a path of non-duality, about seeing all of the drama on the planet as theater and rising above it and coming into our most peaceful, heart-centered, loving place and maintaining a high vibe. And that's what gets rid of the negativity. But what's actually happening, what's actually happening with some of these teachings and these programs and some of the narratives that also get delivered to star seeds that reveal some of the truth, what is happening is an active attempt at keeping you pacified and keeping you feeling like you're in the know, but you don't need to fucking do anything about it. That's what's going on. They don't want humans rising up and taking this planet back. So we need to talk about action. We need to talk about spiritual action. We need to talk about the actual drama that's going on this planet and how star seeds, light workers, beings who are awakening on this planet have been told to just sit out. And also, we're told to vote for Donald Trump. So it's really important that we also understand the long-term psyop that has been played on the spiritual community. And we might even remember QAnon. Remember? Wasn't that happening back in, was that 2020? And then into the 2024 election, we see a very active attempt at getting Donald Trump elected. Why? Because he's part of the cult. He's part of the cabal. So one thing I find really interesting about this psyop is that years ago, the cult was admitting their crimes. The cult was admitting they exist. They traffic children. They're pedophiles. They rape and abuse women. They are attempting to do all sorts of negative things to humanity, not just physical violence, consciousness control programs, genetic control programs, you name it. Anything they can do to fucking subjugate humanity, they're going to try to do it. But they also have to reveal their secrets to some degree. Like it's a pressure release mechanism. So there's this like mechanism in place for that level of satanic evil that says it can't all stay in the dark. It creates too much pressure for them. It has to also come out into the light a bit. And over time, like as a long term, like spiritual trajectory, that is how things work. We start to bring more and more and more into the light, and then eventually we are all standing in the light. But that also requires action. And so what was happening, back then is that we had this cult, this cabal, who Donald Trump is absolutely a part of. Many world leaders, governmental leaders in the US are. And what was happening is that they were admitting what was going on. They were admitting this large-scale pedophile ring on the planet, but then they were flipping it with this psyop to get many spiritual leaders, light workers, influencers to start promoting the idea of voting for Trump being what's going to take down the cabal, which is absolutely not true. That was a psyop. So a lot of people, a lot of spiritual leaders, like I'm remembering like Robert Edward Grant, for instance, was like really pushing like the Trump voting thing back then. Like, where are you now, Robert? Like, you need to fucking talk about that. Like, you need to talk about the evolution of your consciousness to understand these things. Like, if you're going to be a consciousness leader, you need to be able to understand these psyops and understand how they've also worked on you over time. So we have an instance here where many people were being captured by the cult's consciousness control program and fooled and told, like, here's your savior. Here's your savior. Vote for them. They're going to take down the cabal. Meanwhile, they are the cabal. And I think we need to understand, like, how does that happen to us, right? So recently I was remembering that years ago, like when I was talking at the Portal to Ascension conference in San Diego, when was that? 2023, I think, maybe 2012. Yeah, I think 2023. Ismael Perez was there. This is a dude who came on the scene around the time of Trump going into the election in 2024. And this guy had a great script about galactic things, cosmic things, Earth history, things that the awakening community would want to hear about, right? And this man was very much heavily pushing the Trump agenda. And I remember at the time, I remember seeing him at the Portal to Ascension conference where I was also speaking. And I remember like looking at him and being like, he is a fucking plant. I know this man is like not real. He is a fucking fake. He is an actor. They have fed him this whole script. And he actually does not have like a solid foundation to explain his awakening. And the story has been changing, by the way, because I just saw a little clip from a video yesterday, and that's partially what's triggering this video because, I don't follow these people anymore, but every once in a while I'll see something pop up online, and I'll click on it and just like see what's the latest, what's going on in the consciousness of these people. And I think what I saw was he did an interview with Emilio Ortiz, I think that's his name, a young man in his 20s who just right out of college, I think, did he go to Columbia or Yale? I'm not remembering, but an Ivy League school where, there's lots of secret societies that practice satanic cult ritual, who know a lot about occult wisdom. Yeah, that guy, that kid who just immediately came on the scene, like right out of college with all this spiritual wisdom, running a podcast, making that appear as though like that's his new thing and he's this rising star and he has all this wisdom to share. Yeah, where did that come from, Emilio? Where did that come from? Which secret society taught you that? Which secret society gave you all those scripts? I would like to know. The world would like to know. So I'm watching just a brief clip of this video yesterday with Emilio and Ismael, and I'm just like, wow, here we are. Here we are. CIA plants in the spiritual community as these leaders of light, false light leaders, just running scripts to keep people like sucked into their story, right? Like the whole point is to feed people enough truth to think they know what's going on, but to keep them pacified, to keep them from actually fucking doing anything about it. And like that's the irony of what has happened in our spiritual teachings and spiritual community, is that we have a lot of influencers out there who are using galactic truths, ancient earth history truths, partial truths, to then feed you other spiritual teachings that keep you fucking passive. And that's not of the light. That is not of the light. I condemn them. I condemn them as being part of the cult. I call them out for being part of the cult. And I say that we have a large scale number of CIA influenced influencers in this world, not just in the spiritual community, in a lot of other sectors and industries, because they knew that that is how they can influence the consciousness of the public. It is no longer just through the regular news media. It is no longer just through Netflix and Disney and HBO and like whatever, stuff they're getting people to watch online. As they started recognizing the awakening that has been happening, well, what did they need to do? They needed to infiltrate that awakening. They needed to infiltrate the communities that are leading the awakening on Earth, so that they can create a consciousness containment program. That's what this is, okay? Elizabeth April is one of those. All of that stuff about the Galactic Federation of Light. Yeah, there is a galactic family of light. But a lot of what you've been fed by her specifically is also bullshit. So we need to know that. We need to understand that there are a number of people who call themselves spiritual leaders or influencers who have great stories of these experiences they've had, but then they also are able to deliver a lot of information that tells you to just meditate to eliminate the evil. That's not going to fucking do it, folks. We actually have to take action. We actually have to eliminate the evil on this planet. We actually have to be our own saviors and stop waiting for another savior to show up. Stop waiting for the galactic team to show up. By the way, they're not going to show up until we take action to say the evil and the ancient star race agendas on this planet, the cult of Baal, which came from a negative star race. The family of light is not going to show up until we say no to the consciousness that has been controlling this planet. So this is also disclosure. This is also a disclosure conversation, because the disclosure we need is to know that any fear we've had of ETs, aliens, other life out there in the universe, it's already here. It's already here. They've been incarnating in human bodies because we have an ancient contract on planet Earth with some of these dark star race beings. So what has happened on this planet is that in ancient times, the Anunnaki race of beings, the giant race of beings, sought to subjugate humanity, and they did a very good job with that. That race has been quarantined in the galaxy. Like, they are no longer able to actively just show up on Earth in their star race bodies, okay? Like what we used to see in like ancient Sumeria and the depictions of some of the ancient Anunnaki, the hybrid beings with the wings and the serpent-like beings, the draconian type of beings. Yeah, they've existed. And yeah, they subjugated humanity a long time ago. And guess what? Guess what? Those beings, those souls, have still been incarnating in human bodies on Earth, and they are the cult of Baal, okay? Because this ancient drama played out on Earth, and these beings of power who had negative intentions a long, long time ago, because that like connection with humanity happened, humanity has been on a journey of now being able to choose. Are they going to be subjugated still? Are they going to choose a different path forward? Are they going to say no to the evil? Are they going to kick that evil off the planet? That's what we have the choice to do now. And their consciousness is very mature. They understand the ancient mysteries. They understand cosmic mechanics. They understand dark magic. They understand your consciousness at a deep level, at a very deep level. And they are able to play the light. They are able to put a mask on. They are able to play a role and put on the face of an actor to feed you information that you're hungry for, but to also keep you subjugated to their system, to following them, to not actually rising in your sovereignty and making your own connection to source and doing your own source highest soul blueprint embodiment. They want you looking to them for the answers. So they're not going to give you all of them. They're going to give you partial answers. They're going to give you partial history. They're going to give you partial spiritual wisdom that keeps you subjugated. And a lot of that spiritual wisdom has also been about not fighting the evil, okay? Like a lot of that spiritual wisdom that they have fed humans has been about staying passive. Was Jesus passive? No. Jesus would walk into a temple and flip a fucking table to make a point, right? So we have to remember that like spirituality is not passive. Like spirituality is standing up for women and children and taking like actual action to eliminate the evil on this planet, because otherwise it doesn't just get eliminated. You know, like you don't just pray it away, okay? I'm getting impassioned here. Can you tell? Can you tell? Can you tell I have some passion around this topic? Oh my God, humanity. Wake up! Like everyone needs to wake up more. So we have a situation on the planet. We have a situation also where the spiritual community, people who are awakening, are also getting fed information about historical contact with star races, like in modern times. Like there's a lot of question and interest in like, what does the government know and what ETs have they interacted with, and do we have ET bases on Earth, and do we have star races coming and going from Earth and all that sort of stuff, right? So I want to address that also, because that is a narrative that is out there that is being unpacked by various people, and I think has also created some confusion and is its own kind of psyop. So the cult of Baal has been running things on this planet, right? The pedophiles, the abusers, the subjugators, the beings of pure evil have been running this planet, attempting to. And they have also been engaging certain ET factions, not like horrendously negative ones, not like as negative as like the entities and souls that are embodying roles like Epstein, Trump, Netanyahu. Like these sorts of beings are the reincarnation of some of the worst beings we have ever seen, okay? And yes, they have negotiated with some different ET factions. The highest level factions of light have not yet been on this planet other than incarnated in human bodies. Hello. and so we have both, right? Like we have both happening. We have high level advanced souls of light incarnating in human bodies to rise in their power, to rise in their consciousness, to rise in their sovereignty on this planet, to be able to oppose the negative forces that have sought to subjugate humanity. So the negative forces that have been embodied in beings like Trump, Epstein, Netanyahu, just to name a couple, they have made deals with different ET factions that are somewhat parasitic. Like there are a lot of parasitic races out there. Some of them are not like as evil as what we've had on this planet, but they're parasitic, like they want resources, like they want what supports their agendas. And some of these factions on Earth, like the Epstein cult faction, has absolutely, infiltrated, like U.S. government, for instance. Like the U.S. government has been controlled by that faction for decades, and if not like forever. And so like the idea of American freedom is kind of its own ironic illusion that we're going to have to talk about too. So So whatever we know, whatever has been leaked by government officials about ET bases and stuff on Earth, those are parasitic races, and I command them to get off the planet. Any race that has negotiated with the cult of Baal on this planet is not welcome on this planet anymore. Any race that has allowed that evil to subjugate humanity so that they can get access to certain resources on this planet, that shit's off limits. Those races are commanded to leave this planet, and the highest races of light that operate in service to source, that operate in service to the highest light architecture on this planet, the highest freedom, the highest sovereignty for both this planet, the solar system, this galaxy, and all neighboring galaxies, those races are also invited to and commanded to support the extraction of the negative parasites on this planet. Because we have a lot of parasites on this planet, and they don't just look like Donald Trump and Epstein, but they are also hidden. They are also hidden, and they've just been like doing their own thing, you know, like utilizing some of the resources of Earth, and the cult of Baal has allowed it. And then they're just using that as this, like, you know, soft disclosure thing to also keep humans like confused and like not looking towards the light, not looking towards, you know, higher advanced consciousness, like star races that can actually support what's happening on Earth. And I want to acknowledge that there's a lot of starseeds and a lot of light workers who are making that connection and are bringing through that wisdom and that light and that embodied expression of some of the highest light factions in this universe, and they do not look like Ismael Perez. They do not look like Elizabeth April. They do not look like Emilio. Okay? Okay. So we have a psyop around disclosure and ET races also. And we need to know that basically any of the ones that are already here operating in their ET bodies, negotiating with the US government or Israel, are not of the light, and they're not welcome here anymore. It's also important to know that because some of these beings, like the Trump, Epstein, Netanyahu types, that have been attempting to really run the show for humanity and infiltrate like all of these high level leadership positions in government, media, entertainment, baking, retail. It's the web is wide, the web is deep, it is extraordinary. And these beings, they know themselves as the incarnated human version of the Anunnaki. They know themselves as that. They know themselves as ancient beings of power, and they've utilized that to their advantage. They've utilized their understanding of ancient Earth history that they have also attempted to hide from humanity. They have utilized that for the purpose of harnessing ancient secrets, ancient wisdom, ancient energy sites on the planet that can support their agenda of subjugating the planet. So again, they understand the high level mechanics of energy and consciousness. And I want to just pause for a moment and say I actually tuned into a GFL channel on YouTube yesterday and listened to a video that was supposedly a Pleiadian channeling. All that's bullshit, by the way. There's like some nuggets of truth coming through there. But again, like the evil and the darkness also can share the truth, you know, of some of the light, you know, because like they're attempting to subjugate it. So this video was talking about different like Stargate portals on Earth and like chakra points. And like, yeah, some of that's true for sure. And they're not telling you the whole truth in that video. Like one thing that was said was there's like this attempt to get to help people like just transcend it all and see it as theater, right? Just like see it as theater. So you're not picking a side and you're just like staying out of it. Sure, like you can do that. Like you can do that if you want. But also there's the idea of non-dual consciousness, which like I've been on a journey of embodying too, right? Like I've already gone through like lots of levels of enlightenment, transcendence, like you name it. But I'm also here to eliminate the evil on this planet. I'm also here to actually bring the light physically, not just sit out and meditate in a cave. Okay. So, like, I've done the meditate in a cave thing. I've done the vision quest thing. I've become a shaman. I'm one of the highest level psychic seers on the planet. I'm not here to just like sit it out, you know? I'm here to actually stand for the actual light and to call out what is false light. And so on this channel, there was this teaching provided that was about, you know, seeing it all as theater and uh, and very much like encouraging star seeds, light workers, advanced souls to not condemn, to not judge, right? Like non-judgment, you know, like we don't judge. We don't judge the events playing out on your planet, neither should you. Yeah, we can fucking judge them. Yes, I have taught about non-judgment as well, but guess what? That doesn't apply here. It's judgment day. It's judgment day for the pedophiles. It's judgment day for the evil. It's judgment day for the satanic cult. And we get to choose. We get to choose. Do we want it to be judgment day for them, or do we want to practice non-judgment in relation to the evil, right? Like these are the things we have to wake up to. Like they have used galactic transmission style teachings to pacify you, to prevent you from taking any action against the evil. So they want you to sit back in your living room and watch a YouTube video about stargates in Iran. Pardon that very American accent. They want you to sit back and just like meditate it away. And they want you to like believe that it's just going to go away, you know, that like, oh, it's not like that's just drama and theater that like you don't need to like be concerned with. Or do you? Or do you? Because we have a planet to liberate. We have a fucking planet to liberate, and we have a lot of pedophiles running the planet. And I don't know how that's going to get liberated without all of you taking some action, right? I don't know how that's going to happen without me taking some action. So you know, I'm like tuning back into some of these spiritual channels again after this like longer this longer vision quest that I've been on, and I'm recognizing like, wow, like there is a very significant twisting of spiritual teachings and galactic level teachings also. That again is like intended to keep your appetite wet with some information and some truth, but with the direction to just sit out because it's theater. Well, yeah, the whole universe is theater. Everything is theater. Like all of this is a physical illusion that is playing out, but we experience it for the purpose of rising in our power and sovereignty and actually embodying source virtues like justice. Justice is also a source virtue. So I don't know about y'all, but I want to see some justice. I want to see some justice on this planet. And I want to see the evil predators die. I command their death. I command that all evil predators leave this planet and never reincarnate, never come back. Do you guys agree? I think we should agree to that. And anyway, I want to go back to the Anunnaki topic because I got on a little tangent there. So these beings, like the high-level cult leaders, they know themselves as ancient Anunnaki reincarnated, okay? Or incarnated as humans now. Because again, like humanity is on this journey of finding their sovereignty from the Anunnaki. And this is the choice we have. They just happen to be in human bodies now. They just happen to be in human bodies doing really weird, crazy, gross stuff. And so I went down to Zorro Ranch here in New Mexico the other day because Epstein had a home here, a facility here in New Mexico. And on this journey, on my vision quest that I've been in New Mexico for the last year. I've been in Santa Fe for a few months. I've been moving from Airbnb to Airbnb because the universe is guiding me on a journey to a destined location here soon. But I've been getting closer and closer to like the southwest corner of Santa Fe, and Zorro Ranch is like southwest of Santa Fe. So I've been getting like closer to it. And I've had some questions about like, what's going on there? Because number one, Epstein isn't dead. We know this. Number two, a MAGA person bought that ranch after Epstein's death, so it stayed in the family. So what the fuck is going on there still? So I decided the other day, I was like, I need to drive down there. I need to drive down there and see for myself. Like get eyes on it because I can do a lot of remote viewing and I've already perceived some stuff about that location, but it's helpful to get close too sometimes if you can. So I thought let me just go do a field trip and let me go down there and I'll tell you what I did too. I did something kind of bold. I took so you know how the ICE agents have been leaving like the Ace of Spades death card at different places, like when they've kidnapped someone or like as an intimidation tactic. Well, the other day I bought some Georgia O'Keeffe playing cards and and I found the Ace of Spades and I thought I should maybe just give that back to them. Let's give that karma back to them. And thank you, ICE agents, for the idea. So I left the Ace of Spades at Zorro Ranch. I left it in their mailbox. Yeah, fuck you guys. So Zorro Ranch is still an active cult location. It is built on top of bunkers. You can see that on Google Maps. Go on Google Maps, look up Zorro Ranch, and look at the three lines that are like right where the house would be. You can see at the end of Zorro Ranch Road. Zorro Ranch Road kind of goes from the main highway to this like elevated geographical area that from the road looks like hills. From the road, it looks like the mansion is built up on a hill. And as I'm driving out to this location, I'm recognizing some really interesting geological features. And I'm recognizing, wow, this is ancient Anunnaki territory. And I've already known that about New Mexico for a while. New Mexico is magical, it is enchanted for many reasons. And where there's high positive magic, there's usually also dark magic. And there is a lot of imprinting of ancient Anunnaki, uh, like dark magic here in this area in New Mexico. And specifically south of Santa Fe, there are a lot of mounds, like right next to Zorro Ranch, there is a mound that as I was driving through the area, I was like, this is a serpent. This is literally a serpent mound, just like in Ohio. So the ancient builder race, the Anunnakis, they built these like earth structures to harness. It's like geomancy, like they're trying to harness certain earth energies, but invert it, for their subjugation protocols. So I'm driving out, I'm getting close to Zorro Ranch. I'm seeing all of these mounds. I'm seeing like this like serpentine structure. And I'm also seeing these rock structures at the top of the mounds that are very similar to like ancient megalithic structures in Peru, India, other parts of America, just to name a couple of locations. And so I'm looking at this and I'm seeing it. I'm seeing, yeah, this is Anunnaki. This is not ancestral Puebloan structures. Those were not ancestral Puebloan constructions. Those are remnants of even more ancient races that were here in this area that also had high technology to like do different like structuring of the earth. It's like they're partially using some natural formations, but then they're also doing some of their own construction and manipulation of those. So I'm noticing this as I get closer to Zorro Ranch, and I'm like, wow. Epstein knows, like he knows the Anunnaki energy in this area, and he knows like what's going on in this area, and he's trying to harness it. Like that's what's happened. He placed his mansion at the top of this, at like the head of the serpent, and then the specific geological feature that is like where his mansion is are bunkers. Like you can tell from Google Maps. It's very clear, and I was already feeling it before going out there. I was already like questioning, like, are the activities that would have been happening, prior to his death, are they still happening there? And yes, they are. Yes. There's also an airstrip out there, so it's very easy for private planes to come and go without anyone being the wiser. And and so basically what's happened is some of the high level cult leaders like Epstein, Trump, these, and like Trump's really not that high level. He's a puppet, but like the big thinkers, the ones who have, more of the like advanced consciousness. Like Epstein has advanced consciousness, very advanced consciousness, but it's for the dark, it's for evil. And so they've known about some of this earth history, and they've tracked their old locations. They've tracked where they can build facilities, where they can harness the earth energy, where can they do their dark magic rituals to amplify the effects on the globe. Like that's what they're doing. So we have to be aware of that, and we have to understand too that like this this understanding of Anunnaki consciousness is very much prominent within the cult of Baal. And one thing I found really interesting on the GFL channel as I was watching this one supposed Pleiadian channeling yesterday was that they were talking about this negative consciousness on the planet being an immature consciousness. That's not true. That's not true. That was a big tip off for me about that video too, because the cult of Baal is very advanced. Like they're not immature. Like yes, there are certain groups of humans that act in negative ways because they are immature and they've been programmed, like they've just been programmed for the negativity and they haven't matured enough to like rise out of that. But then there's a different type of consciousness that is very mature, that is very evil, that very much understands the mechanics of existence, that understands the mechanics of energy, that understands occult magic and occult wisdom and has used it for negative purposes. That's different. And we need to understand that too. We need to understand the difference between immature negative consciousness, beings who have also just been subjugated and harmed and traumatized, who are replaying that because they don't know better, versus the ones who are very advanced and understand very much how to install a consciousness control program in you because they've done it. And so the ancient Anunnaki, I think narrative is something that we need to continue to better understand, and we need to continue to better discern around in relation to advanced or seemingly advanced spiritual teachings on this planet, and to again understand that we have this like long-term drama playing out where humans are getting the choice to become sovereign from these beings. Humans are getting the choice to become sovereign. That's why this is happening all over again, because humans did get subjugated by them a long, long time ago. And here we are back in another cycle where this time they're in human bodies, but they have advanced consciousness. They know who they are, incarnated, and they're using that to their advantage. And they're using it in a way to again feed into some of the awakening that's happening on the planet, but to also like contain that to the best of their ability, which is not going to work, and it's already not working. But it's important to understand what their motivations and intentions are. And it's also really important to understand the level of false light that's been presented to the community. Like, it's really important to understand that. And it's really important to like start to question, like people we follow, and start to question like, why, if there is an evil cabal, that's like trafficking millions of like children and women each year, and like also, doing these horrific crimes against humanity in other ways, like just like pure control programs, and like abusing in these ways, like through food and, forced work in these like egregious, like imbalanced ways. Like there's just so much aside from like the physical violence of what we've seen in the Epstein files. It's so much more than that, like the genetic like alteration attempts that occurred during the pandemic. Like we see that in the Epstein files, right? Like they were actively concerned with and interested in subjugating humanity through those vaccines and utilizing mRNA experimental vaccines because they've been studying DNA. They've been studying, like how DNA works, and they want control. It didn't work. We have had large scale intervention, and we have had a lot of humanity uh, unaffected by that in the worst ways. But they have had these intentions. They have had the level of uh, subjugation and tension where they're willing to do stuff like that. And it's really, I think, necessary to start to, again, not be fearful of these beings, but to face whatever fears we feel about that, but to also recognize we've been taught to not do anything, because part of their goal is consent, right? Like, they can literally only keep doing what they're doing with the consent of humanity. And consent also looks like being passive. If you're passive, you're consenting, like you don't have to be like, out there trying to fight the cult every minute of every day. But also it's like, if we're just turning the other way and not wanting to actually address it through any like means that we have to address it in this world, or if we're just like gonna, follow Ismail into some like global meditation, to like raise the light and, get rid of the evil, it's like, I'm sorry, no. And also, where are all of the spiritual leaders who promoted Trump and encouraged voting for Trump because of the narrative of the evil cabal? You need to talk. You need to come on camera, and you need to acknowledge the level of subjugation you were under and how you have evolved. Otherwise, you're still part of it. That's a message I have to every other spiritual leader as well. Like, you need to get on camera and talk about why that happened to you and how you have healed from it, so that we know you've healed from it. Otherwise, you are dangerous. Otherwise, you are dangerous to the consciousness of those who are following you. So there's a lot of people out there sharing a lot of shit that they think they know about. And then there's a lot of people out there who've been hired to share stuff that the government wants you to know about and that the government wants you to follow, so that you don't actually take action in any sort of other profound way. And so that you also just wait, for like some savior to show up and like save you. So we have to allow ourselves to like truly ask those questions. Like, have I been taught to just like look the other way? Have I been taught to just like know that certain things happen, but to just like let it go? Have I been taught to just like pray instead of taking action? Like these are the questions we have to ask about what we've been fed, what we've been taught, what we believe is true about ourselves, about our world. We have to understand the ancient connection here to the Anunnaki and the subjugation control programs, because it's very much still happening, and there's very much a lot of advanced souls and light workers on this planet under the subjugation and control of the cult, whether they know it or not. And then we have a lot out there who are also just playing a role to just keep you watching YouTube video after YouTube video, rather than actually doing something, rather than actually rising up in this world and getting these motherfuckers unalived. Because that's what needs to happen. Pedophiles are not going to be rehabilitated, and they are not going to get another incarnational cycle on this planet. They need to die. So that's my stance. And I wanted to share about this experience of seeing through some of these false light people. And I've seen it for a long time, but I haven't specifically spoken to that on this channel. And so I wanted to speak to that today, and also help tie that to what we know about the larger cult of Baal and the Epstein rings intentions on this planet, and why we would have, such a situation where people like an Elizabeth April or an Ismail like get believed, It's really interesting. It's really interesting. And the algorithmic protocols, of YouTube and Instagram and all of that absolutely support that program. So we need to know that too. And so all of that needs to be destroyed also. So I am calling for, again, the elimination of the Anunnaki control and subjugation programs on this planet. I'm calling for the elimination of any beings who have actively participated in the level of evil that we're seeing in those files. I'm calling for the elimination of any star races that have been utilizing this planet for its resources while negotiating with the cult of Baal. You are also evil and you're not welcome here. I'm calling for the full awakening of all star seeds and light workers and beings of advanced consciousness on this planet to say it's time to come out of the shadows fully. It's time to come out of the consciousness control programs. It's time to actually use our true consciousness to decide what is right and wrong on this planet and decide what we want on this planet going forward and to take the appropriate action. So this is our wake-up call. This is our time to use our absolute highest discernment and to take the action that aligns with our spiritual values. And if your spiritual values are to just stay passive and meditate it away, well then you're not really helping much on this planet. Just gotta say. Now there is a truth involved in the idea of, as we tune into our truest selves, follow our passions, like even if that's meditating and being peaceful, whatever, it's like all of that contributes, right? Like it all contributes in the long run. There's nothing wrong with meditation, of course, but there's also this way in which we've been taught to like not use our minds and just meditate, and it's like, no, like there's also a lot of other like spiritual action that needs to happen. and and there's just been a lot of education related to passivity and not engaging, the world and not engaging the negativity, like trying to just stay away from it. And that's interesting to me. Like I think that's interesting to recognize, both on like both sides of the fence. It's like we have for humans who have not been quite as awake, like a major passivity stay asleep program, just like be a sheep in the herd and follow the leader and do everything you're told and don't question anything. Like that's one program. But then another program for the ones who are becoming awake is to engage in like all of the like spiritual practices and protocols and things that we can do to like raise our vibe and raise our consciousness and avoid the evil. And that whole like protocol is kind of an avoidance protocol. And I think that's important, for us to start to integrate and realize like, what have we actually been avoiding? What have we actually been taught to avoid? And so this video is about non-avoidance. This video is about, speaking directly to the distortion and to the evil that has occurred in this world, and to demonstrate the power of command, to demonstrate the power of using the voice and also taking action to say, no, you're not allowed here anymore. Like, no, we're gonna kill you. Like the ones who have perpetuated the worst evil and have become the worst predators on this planet, like you don't get to stay here. Like you will be taken out at some point, some way. It's gonna happen, like, because we just can't allow this anymore. Like the fact that like humans and people, engaging in spirituality have just been taught to allow it. Like that's a lot of what's happened. And I'm not having that anymore. I'm not having that. And so I wanted to share this today to also bring awareness to this idea of CIA plants as influencers in the spiritual community, and to just raise the alarm, to say like, be aware that exists, be aware that, sometimes the people that have the fastest rises and like get lots of, popularity very quickly, that is usually a sign that like they've got some backing, like they've got some support there. And we need to recognize that as well. So this is a call for everyone who uh, says they support and embody the light and want to see the light victorious on earth. This is a call to action. This is a call to stop meditating and do something, do things, like do things that actually start moving the ball forward related to justice and related to actually like getting this cult off the planet. Because that's what I'm going to be dedicated to going forward. And I'm excited for you to rise in that sovereignty with me, because there's a lot of use of the word sovereignty in spiritual communities and a lot of subjugation to the cult. So I've heard the word sovereignty used a lot. I've not seen a lot of sovereignty. And so I'm here to also ask everyone to rise in their sovereignty, to say it's time to actually become sovereign from these beings. It's time to actually really deeply examine like the way in which we have engaged their systems and their protocols and the way in which we have been taught by them. So I am very much in support of peace. I love peace too, but also sometimes actions are required to get there. And sometimes peace gets taught to us as a weapon of their agenda. Just stay peaceful. Don't do anything about it. Don't eliminate them. Let them keep doing what they're doing. So that's our choice. That's our choice going forward. So I'm kind of on team no justice, no peace. Like until there's justice, like I'm not going to be peaceful and just like sit here and let it happen, Like, are you kidding? Like, we've got a very large scale global emergency. Like, this is a global emergency. And people are not acting like it. Like, that's what's fucking ironic about this. Like, that's how subjugated many people are. This is a global emergency, and no one is acting like it. So I would like to hear from all of the spiritual leaders and all of the people with spiritual YouTube accounts, like, what are you doing about it? Like, what are you doing about it? Are you going to Zorro Ranch? Are you doing shamanic forensics, to like help feed, like information to the people who can fucking take these people down? Like, we all need to be taking action. We all need to be doing things that eliminate this evil. So anyway, I'm going to get off my soapbox now and leave this here. And thank you for letting me get impassioned and share what I had to share today about this. I hope it was helpful, and I may come back to share some more as I have more thoughts or insights on these topics. But for now, this is an opportunity for all of us to just again continue to practice greater discernment and continue to demand, that we are rising in action and rising for justice, not allowing other things to pacify us at this time. Okay. Thank you for tuning in, and I'm excited about our galactic future. I'm excited about the elimination of this evil so that we might know our true galactic family again, and so that we might be able to welcome the star races who truly want to see our absolute highest evolution and highest return to our sovereignty, and who want to support the like creative flourishing that comes with that. Once humanity is no longer subjugated, once humanity is really truly able to use their minds and their hearts for the purpose of true creation and amplifying everyone's genius and amplifying like the light of source through us all, like the future is just like extraordinary. Like what we have to look forward to is extraordinary, but it requires us actually doing something about this evil, because the future is not going to be extraordinary if we continue to allow this. So that's one of my biggest missions in life now, is How can we get this planet back on the right track? How can we allow the true magic of the universe to be present on this planet and not blocked by the level of control and subjugation and abuse that has occurred? Like, how can we actually liberate everyone on this planet? Like, that's my top priority in this world, in this lifetime, is supporting that liberation and doing what I can in physical ways, using my voice in ceremony, like doing magic against the dark magic, like utilizing all of the tools in our book, all of the tools in our tool belt to get this world back on the right track where we are all truly free and we all have access to the highest level divine intelligence and the highest creativity that's possible and the highest abundance that's possible. And we have some work to do to get there, but it's possible. And I'm excited about that. And I'm excited about what comes after we're willing to take these actions and take this stand together.